Welcome to episode 4 of the Beginner Guide series. Last episode we crafted Rhino and set to get our hands on the Hek, which we will use both of today to make a beginner ready build for both the frame and the weapon to take on the star chart. I'm Tipsy and today we'll be continuing our Beginner Guide series. Just like before, this episode is split into chapters, so feel free to jump around as needed. And in today's episode we will be covering the following topics as seen here, so let's just get right into it. So in Warframe there's some special mods that are basically upgraded versions of the normal mods, and these would be considered endgame mods since they can be upgraded further than their regular counterparts. And these so-called mods are called prime mods. We are still pretty early in the series, but let's go over how to get these mods because they are time-based and it's a good idea to know how they work. That way when a good one shows up you can grab it right away instead of waiting for it to come back into rotation. Prime mods for example can be bought from a special vendor called Baro. He is a bi-weekly vendor, which means he will show up every other week from Friday to Sunday at one of the relays, and in his shop you can purchase special things such as prime mods, weapons and cosmetics. And to see when Baro comes around you can ask in the Q&A chat when Baro to get a time on when Baro actually shows up in a relay. Once in a relay with Baro, you can use your gear wheel menu to fast travel straight to him and check out his goods. His inventory will be a random assortment of stuff such as prime mods, prisma weapons, decorations and a few other items, so make sure to check out whenever Baro shows up to see if he got something worth picking up. But when you try to buy an item from Baro, like Animal Instinct here for example, it will tell you need something called Ducats. So let's quickly go over how to farm Ducats in Warframe. Right near Baro or in any relay really, you will be able to find something called a Ducats kiosk where you can turn in prime parts in exchange for Ducats. But since we don't have any prime parts at the moment, we will need to farm some first and then sell those to the kiosk to be able to get our Ducats so we can actually buy stuff from the Baro. So to farm prime parts we need to open relics. I say roughly around 10 relics should get you around 300 Ducats needed for us. We will need to get the Animal Instinct, but depending on your luck when cracking them open, you could be out farming more or less. Let's head over to the Void and run some missions called Habit a few times to grab some live relics we can crack open in Fisher missions later on. In the mission Habit, just run straight to the captured target and extract after that. You will either get a relic or some ire, and each run should take you about a minute, so just do a few solo runs and you should be able to stock up on some live relics. Now with your relics in hand, head over to the Void Fisher tab and join an open party for a chance at even more rewards. Want some live relics and just pick the highest Ducats reward you can get. I also highly recommend grabbing a few Foma while farming, as you will need to craft Foma all the time in your fondery to basically keep up with your Foma demand in the later game. And you will be glad you did this early on as you start building a proper setups and in-game builds, because a Foma a day keeps the Orokin away. And after a few Fisher missions we have gathered enough prime parts to turn them into 300 Ducats. But don't just blindly toss everything into the kiosk like I do here. Try to keep some parts you might want to build later and maybe check the market prices first, as some of the prime mods you're about to trade in could be worth up to 50 plat or more. So that's just something to keep in mind. Since this is my old account I don't really care, but if you're on your main account 100 Ducats or 50 plat, I would definitely take the plat. So yeah, just a quick heads up that doing a little research before turning in your parts could save you some time later on. But now with my 300 Ducats I can buy the primed Animal Instinct for 300 Ducats and 200,000 credits. But here's the thing, prime mods aren't really stronger than regular mods until after you upgrade them past the max rank of the normal version. And as you can see here, that's gonna be an expensive journey, so this is definitely something more for the late game of Warframe. But still, since prime mods do rotate, I recommend checking Baro's inventory at least once every visit. And maybe run a few Fisher missions while you play, just to be ready in case a really good one pops up. Stuff like Prime Flow, Prime Continuity or even the elemental mods like Prime Toxin are all solid picks. And there you go, now you know how to farm prime mods even if you're still a bit far from actually using them in high level builds. At least now you won't miss out when a good prime mod shows up. Last episode we ended with a bit of homework crafting the Hek so we can start building a solid weapon to carry us throughout the early game. The Hek is especially great for certain bosses later on, since it is a shotgun with high multi-shot potential and strong damage output, perfect for certain bosses in Warframe. Now we will need to farm some mods for the Hek or any shotgun, and if you're using a different shotgun that could work out too. And while you're farming for these mods I would recommend using the Hek itself so you can actually level it up at the same time, that way you will have more mod capacity ready once you actually get your hands on the good mods. So first thing, if you haven't already done it, go ahead and claim your Hek from the fondery. Then head over to your arsenal, equip it and throw on a few basic starter mods just to get you going. The only mod I really recommend upgrading a bit at this point is the reload speed, as the Hek is pretty slow on the reload side by default, so getting a mod that actually helps you increase the reload speed will make a huge difference early on. The mods we'll be farming are the Hell's Chamber, which will give the Hek Multishot, which is really strong as you already fire 7 shots per hit on the Hek. The second mod is the Vigilante Armaments, which is also a multi-shot mod, and with those 2 mods and the Scattered Justice from Steel Meridian, you can reach 380% multi-shot on this weapon. Then we'll need Point Blank, which is just a straight up damage percentage for shotguns. And as mentioned, reload is something we will need, and we will try to get ourselves a hands on the Chilling Reload mod, which gives us cold damage and faster reload. Lastly is the Scattered Justice, which is a faction mod from Steel Meridian, so we will need to level up our standing with them to actually be able to purchase the Scattered Justice mod. But overall, this will be our starting setup for the Hek, and it should be more than enough to get us going, so let's go over where and how to get each of these mods. Point Blank is a shotgun damage mod that increases your base damage, which is super important for making the Hek feel strong early on. And you can get this mod from Earth Bounty, specifically the level 5 to 15 bounties found in Cetus. If the bounty doesn't currently have the Point Blank as a reward, you will need to wait for the bounty rotation to change. Just check back every now and then until the Point Blank shows up in the reward list, then run the bounty repeatedly until it actually drops. And once you get it, head back into your Arbiter and equip it onto your Hek and upgrade it to rank 4. That will give you a 75% base damage boost, which will help you out a ton, especially when combined with the next few mods. And the Vigilant Armaments is another mod you will get from Cetus bounties, but this time it is from the level 20 to 40 bounties. And it will give your Hek extra multi-shot, which means more bullets equals more damage. And just like with Point Blank, if you don't see it in the bounty reward pool, that means it's out of rotation currently. So keep an eye out on the timer at the top of the bounty board to know when the next rotation resets. Now, since this bounty is a higher level 1, enemies can be a little bit harder, so I recommend doing it in a public squad if possible. If it's still too difficult or there aren't any public squads running it currently, you can always wait until you're a bit stronger or gather some more mods for the Hek before coming back. But the good news is this mod is not a rare mod, so you should be able to get it in a few runs. Now to the Hell's Chamber mod that gives you even more multi-shot and stacks with the Vigilant Armaments, making it one of the core mods for the shotgun build. And this mod drops from a bunch of different activities in Warframe, including the defense missions in Rotation B, the spy missions of tier 2 or 3 in Rotation B, like Jupiter or Ceres spy missions, infested salvage missions, some survival missions, and even other types of missions can drop this mod too. And if you're going the defense route, keep in mind that the rotation cycle is AABC, meaning the third reward you get is Rotation B at wave 9, which is the one that can actually drop the Hell's Chamber mod. So the plan here is to go into a tier 1 defense mission, as these have fewer rewards in the pool, so better odds at actually getting Hell's Chamber. Stay until Rotation B at wave 9, then extract or continue to Rotation C if you're also farming for mods like Continuity or Ravage. Tier 1 defense missions include Live on Earth, Teresa on Venus, Laris on Mercury, Spear on Mars, Gulliver on Phobos, and Caster on Ceres. So just go ahead and farm Rotation B rewards, which you will hit around wave 9, where you will see if you actually get your Hell's Chamber to drop. The second method, if you prefer not to do defense missions, you can also go for the Spy Vault method, as Hell's Chamber can drop from Rotation B rewards in spy missions, which you get by successfully clearing 2 out of the 3 vaults in a mission. And you can do this in tier 2 missions or by doing Rotation C in tier 3. Tier 2 missions include the Boat on Ceres, Amalthea on Jupiter, Valak on Europa, and Dione on Saturn. While tier 3 includes Rosalind on Uranus, Neurodes on Neptune, Oceum on Pluto, and Calpi on Sedna. So it's up to you which method you actually choose to farm the Hell's Chamber, defense mission, spy vaults, or if you got lucky you might already have it. Personally, I would probably do the defense mission for both resources, and after the update you only need to do 9 wave to actually reach Rotation B. And once you start slotting in these mods and upgrading them to rank 4, you might run out of mod capacity, and that means it is time to install a potato, also known as the Orokin Catalyst. This will double the weapon's capacity from 30 to 60, letting you fully take advantages of your new mods. And you should still have an Orokin Catalyst if you haven't used it, as it was a reward from one of the junctions we have done. If you have already used the free Catalyst from an earlier junction, don't worry, you can buy another one from the Nightwave for 75 Nightwave creds. I highly recommend doing this to the Hek if you're following along with this series and my builds. And to install the Orokin Catalyst, all you have to do is go to your arsenal, and under the upgrade section section in the weapon of the Hek, you will be able to click the Actions button and actually be able to install the Orokin Catalyst. And this will upgrade the capacity from 30 to 60. But do keep in mind that this is for a level 30 weapon. You will probably not have 60 capacity if your weapon is lower than level 30 at the current moment. And now you should have the Orokin Catalyst installed and have Point Blank, Vigilant Armaments and Hell's Chamber at rank 4, and your Hek will start feeling like a real powerhouse. But we still got more room for improvements. So the next one is called Chilling Reload, which is a great mod, and you can get this mod from Nightmare missions in rotation A, which means any Nightmare mission on the planets Mercury, Venus, Earth or Mars. And to get yourself access to Nightmare missions, all you have to do is clear all the nodes on the planet, and this will then gain access to a new version of one of the nodes, which is called a Nightmare mission. But it will also give the planet a little icon next to its name, meaning you have completed all the nodes on the planet. Once we have access to Nightmare missions, you can go to the planet to manually start them, or you can start them from the Alerts tab in the top right. Then all you have to do is just run these missions for a chance of getting Chilling Reload on completion. And if you get lucky, you could also get a Blaze mod, which is a 1% drop, but it is a really nice mod to have, so just keep an eye out and let me know if you actually get the Blaze this early in the game. But do take note that Nightmare missions are a special version of the mission with an extra modifier added on top, such as no shield, timer, vampire mode, energy drain, low gravity, death destination, etc. So just keep in mind that each mission could be a little bit different. Once you complete a Nightmare mission on any planet, you will have to wait 8 hours from the completion for a new cycle to appear. That means you will have to wait 8 hours for a new Nightmare mission to appear on that given planet. So this mod might take a little bit of time, but I highly recommend trying to get it, as you will also get other Nightmare mods while doing this, so it's highly worth it to run Nightmare missions until you have at least all of the mods. And once you get your Chilling Reload, just go ahead and equip it and max it out. This will then add cold damage to your weapon, but also make your reload speed way faster. Now lastly is the Scattered Justice, which requires us to be rank 3 with the Steel Meridian, so this will take a little bit of time as well. But we can start working towards it, and by now you should also have maxed out your standing at rank 1 with the Steel Meridian and should be able to rank up to rank 2. This should cost you 50,000 credits and 1 FOMA blueprint. Now just go ahead and rank it up so we can start getting standing for rank 3, as this will require us to gather 44,000 standing, and the rank up cost will be a Orokin Catalyst and 100,000 credits. And as mentioned earlier, the Orokin Catalyst can be gotten in the Nightwave, so we will have to save some Nightwave creds for the potato so we can actually get our hands on the Scattered Justice mod. And at this point I will also rank up the Red Veil to rank 2 so I can begin getting standing with them towards higher ranks as well. So now we have gotten ourselves Point Blank, Vigilant Armaments, Hell's Chamber and Chilling Reload as our main mods, all at rank 4. While having some extra capacity, we have also added Tactical Pump for faster reload and Blunderbuss just to boost our crit chance a little bit. And feel free to use the remaining capacity however you want to. This should cover the early version of this weapon. The goal is gonna be getting Scattered Justice and a 60/60 Toxin mod called the Toxic Barrage. And with these two mods you will actually be doing over 10 times the damage we are doing currently, so look forward to that. And with everything covered here, we now have a decent beginner shotgun build that will take us a little bit further into the game. While upgrading our weapons and mods, our credits have probably been crying, so let's quickly go over an easy and fast method to get us some credits at this stage in the game. And once we reach Neptune in the future, credits won't be an issue anymore. At that point we will have access to the Index mission, where we can basically double 100,000 credits every few minutes. But we are not there yet, so our options are limited to Dark Sector missions, as these are a mission type that reward a higher than usual amount of credits on completion. And normally the higher level missions have a better payout, but you can already begin doing this on Earth, as the Dark Sector mission is called Koba is on Earth. However, since we can go to Ceres already, where the highest completion payout from the Dark Sector mission is found, let's just do that. So for us to get to Ceres, we need to complete the Ceres Junction on Mars, and if you have followed along so far, you should already have access to run this junction. Otherwise you need to kill the Surgeon in Elad on Phobos and run 3 different Fissure missions to be able to gain access to this junction. Once that is done, head into the Ceres Junction and take care of the Spectre. This is a perfect chance to test out your new Hek. And the Dark Sector mission here are the Seimeni and the Gabii mission, so we will begin heading south on Ceres to gain access to these 2 missions. On the way you might encounter a spy mission, so let's quickly go over how to easily get into these vaults. The first vault here is what I call the tower, where you can basically jump all the way to the top and there's a broken window and you can jump straight into the vault from there. Easy as that. For the second vault there will be an observer in front. Head to the door where the observer isn't looking and then destroy the scanner from above the door, if there is one. Right as you go down the stairs there should be a hole in the ground. Jump into that hole and run all the way to the vault and secure it quickly, and this is without getting noticed. To get out, just take the elevator out and get out of the vault. For the third and last vault, there's two ways you can take, but personally I think the left one is the easiest, as you only need to steer clear of the observer. And once you head to the left side and all around, you will need to be able to see the vault door, where you can just jump all the way over this gap and hack into the vault. It is possible to hack some platforms to make it easier to reach this door, but that's not worth it, as you can just jump it. There's also another vault that might appear where you basically just go in and hack the vault directly, because there's no like parkour and anything. The vault is just right there in front of it, so this shouldn't be any issue. Now, with access to both Dark Sector missions on Ceres, we can choose to do either survival or defense, as both missions reward 20,000 credits upon completion. Normally the Gabii was the mission to go for, but as one of the latest updates to Warframe, the defense missions no longer require completion of 5 wave, as they will only need 3 wave to actually complete the mission, which can be done faster than a usual 5-minute survival mission. So that means I would personally choose the Seimeni mission over Gabii today, as you can complete the defense mission in 2 to 3 minutes, meaning you will gain around 22k credits every 2 to 3 minutes, which is pretty decent for this stage in the game, and we will be using this method until we get a decent setup and can move into the index endurance on Neptune. So whenever you need a little bit of credits, just run the Seimeni mission and you will be able to gain the credits you need in no time. At this point, some of you will probably have a Rhino ready to mod, so let's quickly go over an early game build for Rhino so you can take on the star chart with a more tanky frame. Also, this series is taking quite a lot of time and effort, so it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button. Also, if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe to be notified for the next episode. The main focus here will be modding Rhino's second and third abilities, which require ability strength, and we will focus on survivability for Rhino. Unfortunately, we already have most of the mods we need to make this build work decently. So we will be running the redirection for shields and vitality for health, and steel fiber to reduce the damage we take, but also boosting Rhino's second ability, which is called Iron Skin, and since it scales with armor, that works perfectly. Then we will grab Intensify for boost and ability strength, which will enhance both the second and third abilities. Making this build a solid all around, finally you can add a flow mod to increase your energy. Let's start out by upgrading the steel fiber and Intensify so we can actually get the most out of our mods to level 4. And if you run out of endo, feel free to head over to your modding station and sort by duplicates and select a few duplicates you don't need to cover the endo cost for upgrading your mods. Once you have selected the mods you want to dissolve, just dissolve them to turn them into endo. This should be enough to get your primary 4 mods into rank 4. And with that, we now have the beginning of a solid early game build for Rhino, and at a level 30 you have around 2.2k effective hit points. And every time you press your second ability, the Iron Skin, at this level you get around 2500 overguard shield, which is a pretty solid amount at this stage in the game. As you continue to level Rhino up to level 30, he should increase his capacity and stats. You will also be able to scale his overguard shield even further, making him even more tanky and able to take on tougher enemies. Rhino's abilities revolve around taking damage and boosting your damage, so here's a quick rundown of all of his abilities. Rhino Charge, the first ability, where Rhino charge forward, dealing damage to enemies in his path. Iron Skin, the second ability, provide a huge amount of overguard shield that scales with Rhino's armor, while active Rhino cannot be staggered, meaning that status effects like knockdowns from lasers and other effects won't interrupt his actions. Raw, the third ability, boosts damage for yourself and your allies, making it great for increasing your overall damage output in a team. And this ability is also commonly subsumed onto other frames in Warframe. Stomp, the fourth ability, where Rhino slams the ground, cursing a radical stun and damage to all enemies in the area, making this somewhat of a crowd control tool. But one of the most important things to take note of is that while Iron Skin is active, you cannot be staggered. That means lasers, explosion and other effects that would normally knock you down or interrupt your actions won't affect you, letting you keep going without any interruptions. Now that we are beginning to get new frames and a good amount of weapons, we need to level them up and farm resources. So wouldn't it be nice if there was a buff that could actually give you more affinity credits or higher chance of dropping resources? Well, that is exactly what you can get for free in Warframe, and that is called blessings. In Warframe, a mastery level 30 player can go into any relay, and once a day they can give out a blessing that will last for around 3 hours. And everyone inside the relay at the time of the blessing will receive it. This means you could potentially go into any relay and receive up to 6 different blessings, each providing a unique advantage. And the 6 different blessings you can receive are the Affinity Blessing, which increases your affinity gain by 25%, the Credit Blessing, which grants you 25% more credits from missions, the Resource Drop Chance Blessing, which increases your chance to drop resources by 25%, the Damage Blessing, which gives you a boost to damage by 25%, the Health Blessing, which gives you a 25% health bonus, and lastly the Shield Blessing, which provides a 25% shield bonus. So just by standing in any relay you might receive one of these blessings, so if you're planning on going AFK, instead of hanging around in your Orbiter, head to the Strata relay and AFK there. And when you return, you might find yourself with some free blessings to use. You could also ask in the relay chat if anyone can give out the specific blessing you're looking for, like Affinity Blessing, which we will be using this blessing specifically when we unlock the Sanctuary Onslaught, which is an easy place to actually level up your frames and weapons in Warframe. But do keep in mind that some relay instances might be a bit more inactive, while others could have more players, so you will have to find the right instance where a MR30 player will pop in and give a blessing. Alternatively, you could join the Blessings Discord, where players coordinate blessings, and if you meet at the right time in the right relay, you will receive all blessings at once. Additionally, some clans might have blessing timers where higher MR players in the clan will give out blessings at a scheduled time. This can be a great way to actually ensure you will always have access to powerful buffs in Warframe. One of the most common ways to grind Warframe and weapon levels is by playing the Sanctuary Onslaught or the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, called SO or ESO in Warframe, which is a wave clear mission that keeps spawning enemies until the time runs out and takes you to an even harder stage. And this just keeps on going infinitely. So to gain access to the Sanctuary Onslaught, you will need to complete 2 quests. The first is called Stolen Dreams and the second one is the New Strange quest. Once you complete both of these quests, you will gain access to the Sanctuary Onslaught and can begin using it as one of your primary methods for leveling up your frames and weapons. So let's go over how to unlock the Sanctuary Onslaught. The Stolen Dreams quest can be started after you complete the Argwing quest, which we covered in an earlier episode. Once you have completed that, you will just have to head into a Codex station and start the Stolen Dreams quest. In this quest you will be sent on various missions which involve the Grineer hacking, which we covered in chapter 3, and some Corpus hacking. Don't worry, the Corpus vaults are generally pretty simple to just brute force, so they will usually be locked by laser gates, and with your Rhino you can run straight through these. So just run through the missions and complete them until you have completed the quest. Once you complete all the missions, you will be rewarded with the Ether Daggers blueprint and also a Orokin Catalyst blueprint. Here you can either save the blueprint for a Syndicate rank up or craft it for your weapons, and if you are MR6 you can also begin crafting the Ether Daggers from the quest. And now to unlock the New Strange quest, we will have to move towards the Europa Junction on Jupiter. On your way to the Europa Junction on Jupiter, you will likely have to complete the Themisto mission, which is the boss fight for Jupiter. In this mission you will have to face off against Alad V and his companion, and keep in mind that if you defeat Alad V before his companion, the companion could revive Alad V in the fight. The Themisto mission is also the place to farm for parts for Valkyr, the Warframe, while the main blueprint for Valkyr can be bought off the marketplace for 35,000 credits. It is one of the easier frames to farm and craft, so it's great for some quick mastery XP. In addition to the Valkyr parts, the Themisto mission is also one of the best early missions to farm neural sensors in. As you can see here, both Alad V and his companion can actually drop the neural sensors, and in this run I got 10 neural sensors from just a quick run. It is worth noting that I had a resource booster from my daily tribute, so normally I would have gotten about 5 neural sensors here from this sub 2 minute Alad V run. Once you reach the Europa Junction on Jupiter, you will need to complete a mission called Test Up, which is the first mission when entering the Void from Phobos. Once you have access to the junction, just jump in and defeat the Spectre. Once you complete the mission, you will unlock access to Europa, but most importantly the quest The New Strange. To start the quest, go to your Codex and search for The New Strange, and then accept the quest and start it from there. Then you will have to complete a mission, and after that you will have to visit the chapel on Ceres in a relay. After speaking with the Ceres, you can return to your Orbiter and equip the new scanner you have just unlocked in your arsenal. Don't forget to equip the traps as well, as they will make it easier to scan, which is the next step in the quest. There's also a dialogue option at Ceres that will teach you a mini tutorial on how to actually scan these enemies. But after that you'll just have to head to the navigation and look for the glowing missions. These are the ones that will let you run the scanning task. Ira, the capture mission, is the easiest and fastest mission for this, so I recommend just running this one. And once in the mission, just go ahead and capture the target, then take out your new scanner and follow the little data points that are targeting towards a direction, and just follow these until you find the target you will have to be scanning. Once you find the target, it should be marked with a little yellow check marker, and then you can use your traps to immobilize it for a while and then use this time to actually scan the blue dots inside its body. Once all of the dots are scanned, the target will disappear and you will receive some Ceres standing. Then you will just have to repeat this process 3 times and then return to Ceres once you're done. Ceres will then send you back to your orbiter to craft the Scorch Beacon, which you should have all of the necessary resources for. After crafting, you will be sent out on a new mission, and eventually you will be back to crafting the Chroma Signal, so just keep following the quests and steps from here until you have completed the new Strange quest. After completing the new Strange quest, you will gain access to the Sanctuary Onslaught and the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, which can be found under the Syndicate tab in the navigation menu. These missions are essentially an endless mode mission, similar to survival, where you will need to keep killing enemies in different zones. Each zone lasts for 2.5 minutes, and after that you can extract or go to a new zone for 2.5 minutes. If you decide not to take the portal, you can exit the mission just like a normal extraction. However, if you want to continue the mission, you will have to go into the portal to continue leveling up your weapons and items as long as you stay in the zones. So just play until you have your things leveled up and then extract from the mission afterwards. The Elite Sanctuary Onslaught is just the same but a harder version, and your frame will need to be at around rank 30 to actually enter this mission. This is one of the more efficient ways to level up your frames and weapons early game, especially if you join a squad with a nuker frame. In this case you could reach rank 30 in no time, but the speed of your squad will determine how fast you actually level up, and the faster your team clears enemies, the faster you will level up your gear. Also, a great tip is use the blessings from chapter 5 if you plan to do a big leveling session. This will help you get additional bonuses to Affinity and level up 25% faster. With that, you can now level up your frames and weapons whenever you want to in the Sanctuary Onslaught. At this stage in the game, I should mention that it is possible to farm Nekros parts, but be prepared for a long and grindy process, as this mission takes around 8 to 10 minutes per run in the early game if you don't have a solid build for this mission. And you only get 1 part per completion of the mission, so if you're lucky it could take you around 30 minutes for all parts, but if the drops are unlucky it could stretch over a longer period. That being said, Nekros is a useful frame, so it is worth the effort, and it is recommended to do this in a public squad to make the process faster. Teaming up with other players could make the grind significantly quicker. So now let's dive into the specifics of the mission to acquire Nekros. The mission is called Magnesidium on Deimos, and the Magnesidium mission is a boss fight located on Deimos. This is an interesting fight with its own set of mechanics, so if you want to experience it without spoilers, you can pause the video here and go ahead and try the mission out. But if you're looking on tips how to handle it and optimize your approach, here's what you need to know. So let's head into the mission, and once you're in, just head straight for the objective, and when you get to the little arena, a little time will pass before the boss fight begins. In stage 1 of the boss fight, which takes place here, the Lephantis boss will rise one of its 3 heads above ground for a short amount of time. And each head is a little bit different, so let's go over each head and the weaknesses and where to hit them, because you can't just hit them anywhere. And if you can mod for a different status effect on your main weapon for this fight, I will recommend the Corrosive or Blast, as those are the boss's weaknesses. I will personally be using the Hek and the Rhino we have made in this episode, but sadly I don't have the mods to optimize for this fight yet, so we will just have to do with what we have. And Lephantis consists of 3 different heads, as mentioned before: the Infested Corpus head, the Infested Grineer head, and the Ancient Infected head. The Infested Corpus head's weak spot is in its mouth, which will open up once the head actually attacks, so try to steer clear of the attack, as it releases toxin status cloud that ignores shields and deals a significant amount of damage. So just run around and shoot it in its mouth once it actually opens up. Next up is the Infested Grineer head, which swings a big scythe at you. When it actually swings, you can just dodge roll out of the way to actually avoid damage and getting knocked down. And when the head actually swings at you, it will reveal its face under its jaw, and this is the Grineer head's weak spot, so you want to shoot this head when it's actually exposed so you can deal damage to it. Lastly, we have the Ancient Infected head, which spits out an arc of spore bombs that will explode after a while. To damage this head, you want to hit the inside of its wings, though it can be a bit annoying when the wings don't want to open up. With that, you should now know each head and how to kill them in phase 1, and then just run around until you have killed all 3 heads, and that will then trigger phase 2 of the boss fight. In phase 2, the floor will break, sending you downstairs, where you will have to fight Lephantis' full body. It works just like in phase 1, but now Lephantis can attack more often. Also try not to step in the water, as you will take electricity damage if you touch it. And now your job is to run around and just kill all 3 heads again to finish off Lephantis. Afterwards, you can then take the elevator back up, and if you're quick with your operator, you could space jump up through the hole, skipping the elevator and saving some time. Now let's talk about the the rewards for this mission because it is actually one of the better places to farm Neurodes in Warframe. And each head you kill in phase 1 has a chance to drop loot. As you can see here, the Neurodes are one of the planet resources, and there's also a chance to get Orokin cell from each head. So if you got a good build for this mission and can finish it off quickly, you can farm a few Neurodes every now and then by actually killing Lephantis in this mission. Each completion of this mission will reward you with one part of Nekros, so just keep running the mission until you have one of each part. The main blueprint can be bought on the marketplace for 100,000 credits. And for the resources, you should know where to get most of them, but let's quickly go over some of the more rare ones. Neural sensors can drop on Jupiter. You could also run the mission Themisto and kill a Lord V for a higher chance of dropping neural sensors, as both him and his pet can actually drop them. But again, this is RNG, so it might get unlucky and it could take some time, so just keep that in mind. Plastids we already know how to farm from the last episode. All we had to do was farm cyst in the Cambion Drift for a chance to actually getting plastids, easy and simple as that. Dimorphosis can be found pretty commonly in Mars missions, so just run any missions and you should come across some of them. And lastly is the control module, which are commonly found in the Void missions, Tess-Up or Habit. I recommend just running Habit and actually gain some relics on top of it while you're farming for your control modules. And once you have gathered all the resources, just start crafting your Nekros, and soon you should have a loot frame that can actually give you a chance at bonus loot drops, which is great for farming certain resources. As we now have spent some time farming and improving our loadout, we can continue onwards with the star chart and make some progress in the overall game. Our first goal is to reach Uranus, and to do that we need to make our way down to Saturn and then to Uranus afterwards. The Saturn Junction will be the first junction on the way. To unlock it, you will need to complete the Arcane quest and defeat a Lord V, which we went over in chapter 6 when we got our Valkyr frame and made some neural sensors. After that, just defeat the Junction Spectre, which should be no problem with the new shotgun. Now on Saturn, we need to make our way down to the Uranus Junction. A mission to take note of though is the Helene mission, as this is a defense mission with a small tileset. This mission can also be used to level up frames and weapons if you squad up with a good nuke that can actually clear the mission quickly. After the Helene mission, you will have the boss fight mission of Saturn called Tethys. Here you will have to fight General Sargas Rock, who is a flamethrower boss that can be a little bit tough at this point in the game if you don't have much survivability on your frame, as General Sargas Rock actually damages you with heat damage, which can hit pretty hard at this point. In this fight, Sargas will be invulnerable until he overcharges by using his flamethrower. When that happens, different weak spots will open up on his body that will actually try to cool him down. All you have to do is shoot these faint blue glowing spots and you will actually be able to hurt him. You want to hit these spots when they open up to deal damage to him. Just keep doing this until he is dead, but try to keep your distance, as this is not an easy boss fight at all in the early game of Warframe. So try and avoid getting hit by his flames and taking flame stacks on you, because it will hurt you a lot. But if you have Rhino, this boss fight should be no problem as long as you have enough energy to actually enter your second ability, Iron Skin, which will give you the overguard shield and prevent the stagger on you. The Tethys mission is also the place to farm Ember, which has been pretty popular lately due to her heirloom skin, so if you want an Ember Warframe, this is the place to farm it. Now, having reached the Uranus Junction, all you have to do is go talk to Chaplain Semaris in the relay if you didn't do this in chapter 6. So let's head into any relay and fast travel to the Chaplain Semaris using the gear wheel menu. Let him teach you how to do the scanning, which will take you into a quick tutorial like mission. And like we went over before, just follow this tutorial and scan the target. And once that is done, you should also unlock the story related item vendor, which sells the story rewards. For example, if you accidentally deleted a weapon or frame you have obtained through the story quest or something similar, this shop should have it in it. And back at the Uranus Junction, if you haven't done the Meso Void Relic mission yet, just go ahead and run some quick Meso Relics. If you don't have a Meso Relic, I recommend running Io on Jupiter for some Meso Relics at this stage in the game. With that complete, it is time to fight the Spectre at the Uranus Junction. Completing the junction gives you a quest called the Duvari Paradox, which is a pretty cool quest line. However, if you want to understand the quest better, I recommend holding off on it for a bit. The quest does give access to an easy way to farm some frames and other things weekly, so the choice is up to you. I will be doing this later. At that point, we will also cover how Duvari works, as it unlocks some things that might need a little bit of explanation. Now with Uranus unlocked, we can continue our main quest by just completing missions until we encounter some strange drones, just as the quest mentions. So let's begin clearing all the missions on Uranus, and I will be heading towards Ophelia, as this mission is commonly used to farm farm Tellurium. As you clear missions on Uranus, you should encounter some weird drones as you see here. After completing the mission, you will then receive a quest from Lotus called the Natah, and this will be homework for the next episode. So now that we have made some progress and even gotten ourselves a frame and weapon build to take on the star chart, we are ready for some homework for the next episode. First, as we mentioned before, the Natah story quest will be added to this episode's homework since we need it to progress to Neptune in the next episode. Also, this might be a tough one if you haven't done the previous episode's homework yet. I recommend trying to clear all the planet nodes up to Saturn at least at this time around, as this will both give you resources, unlock new missions and help you level your frames and weapons while also working on your steel path progress, as we will need to clear all mission nodes in the game to actually unlock steel path. While clearing, you will also earn Syndicate standing with your chosen syndicates. For me personally, I will try to reach Steel Meridian 3, as that is when I unlock the Scabbard Justice mod for my Hek. This will also cost 1 Orokin catalyst, which can be obtained from the Nightwave, so don't forget to do your weeklies and dailies in the Nightwave system. And remember to earn some daily standing with the Austrian and Solaris United 2 using the quick hunting method which we showed in an earlier episode. If you have level 30 weapons or frames and have an alternative you haven't leveled up yet, remember to level it up to get some mastery XP so you can rank up and unlock even more weapons and frames to use. And I started crafting all of the weapon and frames I can so I can use them for mastery further once the time comes. Also, don't just claim everything from your foundry all at once, as you can actually use it as a kind of storage, because once you claim it, it will cost a weapon or frame slot, which you don't have infinite of. So if you want more Warframe slots, you have to farm platinum later on for them. And of course, the previous homework from the last episode still count. If you haven't done it yet, this could be the time to catch up. And that's it for the 4th episode of the Beginner Guide series. I hope you found it useful, and if you haven't watched the first few episodes yet, I highly recommend checking them out, as there's quite a few tips and tricks that could still be helpful even if you're already past this stage in the game. In the next episode, we will continue our journey towards Neptune and get access to some more story related quests, so be sure to look forward to the next episode. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want more Warframe tips, don't forget to like and subscribe for future content, and check out my other videos for more guides and tips. We also do have a Discord server, so feel free to hop in there and become a part of the community. Stay tuned, stay tipsy, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.